Hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today we're back with weekly update number 167. Let's jump right into it with week in review. This is where we talk about what's been going on in the warehouse, things that are coming up, stuff like that. So first off, let's talk about the charity stream. So this past Saturday was our annual charity stream. We're raising money for Shriners, Hospitals for Children, and we did pretty good. We raised about 6,000, just over 6,000 for our goal. We're trying to shoot for 10,000 though, so we fell short a bit. And I think there's a few factors in that. Part of it might be just the state of the world right now. The other major factor is the fact that the donation link for the stream went down. I think it was around 3 o'clock or something like that. For about 2 hours, it was off for like an hour, on and off. For the next like hour or two, glitching out and stuff, and then eventually came back. But 2 hours out of a 12-hour stream is a pretty significant amount of time, and so people stopped by with the intention of donating during that time. They didn't have the option to. They couldn't because it was down. So because of that, we're going to shoot for a charity stream part 2 this coming Saturday. We're going to start at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, run to the normal 10:30 p.m. that we usually run the normal Saturday streams to, and pick up where we left off, hopefully raise that last 4,000. We have a ton of giveaway prizes left. We had various milestones where we added more prizes to the prize pool, so there's currently one prize up for grabs that's available when we start, and then there's another bunch of good ones. A PG Unleashed, I think there's a mega size unicorn, there's a few P Bandai kits, some master grades, high grades and the like that are still available as we hit those milestones, and hopefully we will hit them this coming Saturday and maybe hit that $10,000 goal. So hopefully you can join us, and a huge thanks to everybody who donated already. We had a few big donations, a great match from an anonymous donor that helped bring in some more money and stuff like that. And so huge thanks to all those people that helped contribute so far. And I guess a thank you in advance to anybody who shows up this coming Saturday, especially if we reach that goal. Another big thing in the warehouse going on right now is is just trying to get caught up. So last week was a short week because of Christmas. This week is a short week because of New Year's Day. And so 2 short weeks back to back, especially with some big end-of-year holiday sales and things like that, result in us being a little bit behind. I think we're on track to be almost caught up by the end of the day today. If everything goes according to plan, we should be pretty close to caught up. And then come tomorrow, we should be able, tomorrow being Friday, by end of Friday, I think we should be in really good shape. Probably, things can change, things don't always go according to plan, but we're doing pretty good in terms of being caught up and being back to trying to ship orders within about a day of when they're placed. So that'll be good. We also had a huge Picklist system scare. So the Picklist app we've been using has been kind of defunct. The developer stopped working on it, so they're not updating the app, and we've been looking and working on an alternative, possibly building our own at some point. But we found out New Year's Eve, I got an email from Shopify indicating that there are certain API calls required by this app that were no longer going to function, and as a result, we anticipated the whole system going down. The good news is we came in to find that they were working fine, but as a stopgap before knowing that things might stop working, all of a sudden I printed out a whole lot of sets to pack ahead of time as a stopgap. Didn't end up needing them because the system started working again, or continued to work rather, but it is kind of precarious. We're looking at alternatives and hopefully being able to make a switch in the next few weeks regardless, just to prevent that from being a problem. But that was probably the worst email I could get New Year's Eve, sitting there watching movies with the family, and then, oh no, this isn't going to be good. Just kind of freaking out about the possibilities there, and how bad that could be. Losing everything with the pick system would set us back tremendously. If we got potentially thousands of products in the warehouse that had to be rebinned or whatnot, and trying to find everything. The ones that ship all the time are easy. Anything we haven't shipped in a while that people maybe are less familiar with in the warehouse where they're located, huge problem if you don't know where they are, and really slows down the picking process and therefore the packing process. Finally, We're going to be running, I think we're going to call it a 2040 sale. The discount codes will be, the discounts will be automatic. It's going to be 2 collections. Both can be shopped together. One will be a collection of 20% off items. The other will be a collection of 40% off items. So this is kind of our beginning of the year clearance, trying to get some things that maybe we have lots of to have less of them, and some things where we have some of things that we just don't want anymore. With last few of whatever, things that may be less popular, but there should be a lot of good stuff in the collection, so keep an eye out for that on Friday, the day you're watching this, through the weekend, and definitely take a look at those collections. There are probably some hidden gems in there, and at 40% off for some of those, there's some good deals to be had. So that is it for Week in Review. Let's move on to Team Picks. This is where members of the team show off something they built recently. Let's go take a look.
This is Sean. Today I brought in the Master Grade Strike Rouge with the Otori backpack. The really nice thing is it comes with a stand to display it on, which I still have to build. And it comes with a nice set of weapons. The Otori can be built separate and posed next to it. The only issues I ran into is the side skirts are a little bit loose, and one of the legs, at least on mine, I'm not sure if it's a manufacturer defect, but it is incredibly flimsy. It still stands, but just is limited in posability as a result. Other than that, everything's nice and tight, limited same lines, really good kit.
Hey everybody, Alex here from Mecha Warehouse. Today I brought in the HG Giyan, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. But as you guys know, I'm not a huge Gundam fan, not a huge mech fan. I'm starting to get into it, but this is technically my first build of that. And I will say I am a huge fantasy fan, so when I saw this and I saw the suit of armor look to it, I fell in love and I had to get it. And I actually had a really good time building that. It came together really easy, it looks nice, it poses great, and I just found out that there's others in that series that will go with it, so I might be looking at those soon.
That is it for Team Picks. Let's move on to Q&A. So this is where I answer questions from you, the viewers. We've got a bunch of questions this week, so let's jump right into them. Again, if you want to ask your own question, you can post it down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it next time. So, Craig Hurt questions, how many kits do you currently have in your backlog? So I saw his question. I've pulled up a picture from my backlog from a few weeks ago, which is mostly accurate, and I think I've got a few that aren't technically in the backlog itself. So I estimate 110 to 120 kits right now, which isn't, in some ways, isn't as bad as I thought. But you start multiplying the hours, and it's a lot of work, a lot of stuff to do. 2, how do you avoid back pain while building? I'm getting older, and personally I've noticed I'm not able to build for a few hours a day more and tend to need a few days break between building sessions. So I don't know if I really avoid it or if I just power through for the most part. I tend to have problems with maintaining posture while I'm sitting, while I'm at the computer, while I'm doing anything. I tend to start hunching. So I think one is just trying to be active with that. And the other tool I use, especially on long streams, like the charity stream, if I'm taking breaks, I like to use, I have a tool, it's called a Gemini, or you could use like a pair of lacrosse balls or tennis balls if you're in a pinch, or maybe if the lacrosse balls are too much, and you can essentially tape them together and you roll on them. Kind of like a chirp wheel, if you've ever seen one of those. You can roll back and forth on them. They help kind of work out the kinks in your back, and you can get it between vertebrae essentially and stretch on it, and it helps work that kind of stuff out. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physical therapist, any of that kind of stuff. So do your own research before you try doing something like that, whether it makes sense for you or whether it's safe and all that kind of stuff. But I've had good luck with it, especially when I get like knots in my back from stuff, and it helps a lot. Fun question, if you're able to enter in any Gundam universe, which series would it be, and which suit would you prefer to pilot? I feel like I've been asked this question several times in the past. I'm trying to think what I answered last time for consistency's sake. Most of the Gundam universes I don't want to live in because they are dangerous places. You live on Earth during the Universal Century, there's a pretty good chance that sometime in your lifetime a colony is going to get dropped on your head. Doesn't seem like a fun thing to do. So probably not UC. After Colony seems interesting, but same thing. I guess If I would, it would be purely so I could be a Gundam pilot or something, but honestly, if I could enter any, I would not, because it just seems like a bad place to live, unless you're one of the very few. All right, next one, Noble Panda. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? So in terms of Gunpla, my main one is that I want to reduce my work in progress pile. I've got a lot of kits that I've painted but haven't finished, or started painting, or snap built but intend to panel line, decal, top coat, whatever, that need to be finished, and I want to reduce the number of kits that are in that kind of in between. If my backlog's 110 kits, I probably have like 30 kits that are in some state of kind of done. They're snap built but need paint, snap built but need something else, whatever. So I want to reduce that and try to have less in progress kits, so that way I can feel better about starting a new kit and just running all the way through it, and not like I'm leaving other stuff behind, if that makes sense. So I think that's the biggest one. Fun question, how much do you think it would cost if you got an MG Dendrobium or Neo Zeong, and would you buy one? I don't know. Is the average kit price, I'm gonna do some quick math. What's the average? If the average high grade is say 20 bucks at 1/144, and the average master grade is 100, it's probably like a 2-to-1 ratio. So if the Dendrobium is gonna be like 250-ish, something like that, as a high grade, an MG would probably be like 500 to 700, something like that, probably. It could be more. I don't know if those things scale linearly or whatever, but it would be a lot. I can't imagine paying for that. All right, and would you buy one? I'd be tempted. Probably not the Neo Zeong. The Dendrobium I might be. That would be mighty big though. If the HG is like too big to fit on screen here, the MG would be absolutely massive. So practically, probably not. Okay, next up, plastic germs. Happy New Year. Question from a business and personal standpoint, which would be better, 10% off or free shipping? These are always interesting. From a business perspective, I feel like free shipping sometimes does better than 10% off. And we could say free shipping for orders of $100 or more, and people would go crazy. And our shipping, we charge $10. So you're technically getting not as good of a deal. You get 10% off and you spend over $100, you're basically getting free shipping and then some. So people tend to react to free shipping more for some reason, not totally sure why. But from a actually buying perspective, the 10% off is better. I feel like I'm one of the relatively rare few that when I'm shopping and looking at those kind of things will do all the math out to figure that out. A lot of people also don't factor in things like sales tax and stuff like that. We've done some of that in the past as to what the actual math works out, comparing prices against different stores and discount levels and stuff like that in the past. People react to certain numbers emotionally, but the reality is often not the same. Fun question, what are some, if any, personal goals or resolutions for 2024 or the Mecha Warehouse? Bam. So I talked about in the previous question, my main building resolution. I think my personally, what did I write down? Gotta write them down because otherwise you forget. Apparently I already forgot. I think my biggest personal one this year is to take a real vacation where I'm like more off grid for a longer period of time. I took my first vacation ever in 2023 with the business anyway, not my first vacation ever, obviously. But it was a vacation where we basically stayed at a family member's vacation home. So it was relatively easy to be connected to the world. I'd love to be able to take a vacation where we're, way further away, way busier during the vacation and not plugged in at all. And that's kind of one of my goals for the year. Good question though. Next up, Tuan Tran. Question, hi Nick, I'm looking for a perfect display case for the PG Strike Freedom. Will a PG-sized acrylic display case from Mecha Warehouse fit nicely? I also want to display it with all the wings expanded out, so just wanted to see if it fits before buying. Thank you. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let's go take a look at the case and try to do the math on it and see if it'll fit. I have a feeling it won't with the wings all the way out, but let's take a look.
Okay, so here we have the Perfect Strike next to our PG case. And as you can see, we couldn't actually get the strike inside of the PG case. I'll spin around here just to show you. It's a little too deep. If we put all the weapons on the back, it might fit. But if this isn't going to fit with its wings spread out, there's no way your kit is. So probably not.
All right, one more. How do you mask spherical circular surfaces when painting? For example, the hip joints of the MG Barbatos or shoulder joints of the RG New Gundam. So if you're trying to mask like the ball joints themselves, I would run the tape carefully around where the edge of it is, and then you don't have to be very neat to cover the ball itself. So the hard part is the edge. You might be able to get away with just the tape depending on how far away from the ball that you're trying to go. The other tool that's really nice is there's a flexible masking tape from Tamiya. I forget what it's called exactly. Let me look it up. Masking tape for curves. And so I used this on a build a while back where I painted the spikes on the shield of a Dom R35. And I wanted the spikes to be a different color than the rest of the shield, so I used it to create that kind of masking around that curved surface because it has a little bit of give to it. It can bend. It takes a little bit of practice to get used to working with it, but it worked pretty well for cases like that and might be good if you're really trying to get close to, say, a ball joint and really want the tape to be tight around that and not have a lot of overlap with the masking, if that makes sense. So I think that's it for questions this week, a bunch of them. Hopefully I have a bunch next week as well. If you have a question you want answered, post it down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer next week. Thank you for watching. See you next time.